Hello and welcome to another episode of another 30-something girly pod. I'm your host, Amanda Kim, and this week I promise myself and to my 11 subscribers that I will continually be posting once a week now, starting today, and I'm going to make sure of it. My last episode and this episode I got in my head about because my last episode was about the things I did to get over my breakup. And it felt weird to post that, I think, because it was such a vulnerable episode. And also, I felt a little bit weird to be posting it because of the fact that I still have a little bit of anger from my last relationship. And it made me wonder if I'm actually over it or if I'm just telling myself I'm over it. But it's been 4 months since we broke up and we only dated for 4 months. I think it was just the rejection, which is a big thing for people with ADHD. They don't handle rejection very well, even though I like to think that I do. And I think it was the blindsidingness. That's the thing I'm still angry about getting blindsided because I just don't understand. I don't understand how somebody could blindside somebody when their number one thing was communication, and then just to blindside out of the blue, out of nowhere. I don't know how to get over that anger, to be honest. But in the last episode, I also talked about how I thought I was ready to date, and I was dating again. And I honestly was dating again for about a month. I went on 4 first dates and then 5 dates with one person. And he ended it with me for the same reason I was going to end it with him, which is kind of comical because at least we were both on the same page that it wasn't going to work long term, and we both realized that after 5 dates. But I realized that I don't know if I'm quite ready to date yet, only because of the fact that I believe that you attract the type of person based off of what kind of person you are. So if you're vibrating very high, you're gonna have a higher vibration person. If you're vibrating very low, you're gonna have a low vibe person. And I just don't think I am the type of person that I would need to be in order to attract the kind of partner that I actually want. And I'm okay with being single while I figured that out. If I meet somebody in the wild, then sure, I'll go on a date, but I deleted the apps once again after only being on them for a couple weeks and just taking some space to focus on little things like growing my social media like I've been wanting to, and focus on like building up this podcast and getting myself a routine schedule. And I have this big to-do list that I've had for literal months, and the to-do list started before my breakup, but then I was actually so sad after that I just kind of stopped doing a lot of the things that were making it so my life were easier. And like the other day I finally cleaned up my email, and I hadn't cleaned it up since I went through a breakup 4 months ago. And I used to clean it up every day. I would delete emails, and usually about once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I would go through and make sure everything was in its correct inbox. And yeah, anyways, just silly little things that make my life easier. I kind of stopped doing a lot of that, and it's put me in a weird headspace, which is why I've had a hard time kind of being consistent with a lot of things over the last few months. But I finally feel like I'm ready just to truly focus on myself again, even though there was like a month of, you know, going back out in the field, blah, 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 blah. And I just really feel like that's not really in my cards right now. Again, if I meet somebody in the wild and it clicks, sure, why not? But I also have been putting lots of thought into what I really want for my future and what I want for my career and things like that. And I don't know if I'm gonna have or find the kind of partner that I truly want until I do this work on myself and do things to clear my brain and have, you know, more space in my brain just from having this to-do list done and having a consistent routine. Yeah, it's funny because in my brain, I'm like, I don't think I would date somebody who's inconsistent, which I know if they were inconsistent with me, I wouldn't date them, but I'm so inconsistent with myself. How do I expect to have a consistent partner when I'm not consistent with myself? Like, that doesn't make sense. So anyways, I am back off the apps, they're deleted, and I'm focusing on myself, focusing on becoming the person that I want to be, basically becoming what my expectation in another person would be. Anyways, a lot of good has come out of me going through a breakup. One of the things is just what I said right there about how I want to really become the kind of person who's very consistent and who has all the traits that I would expect in a partner, which I do have a lot of the traits I expect in a partner, but there are some things that I guess are inconsistent and don't really line up, where I'm like, okay, maybe I should become these things before I expect for these things. One silly little thing that like I would love for a partner, which I've never had a partner do this, but I love flowers. So I buy myself, not every week, but weekly or bi-weekly flowers, because of the fact that I feel like if I want a partner to do it for myself, why not, or do it for me, why not do it for myself? Well, I don't have a partner. I've never had a partner just buy me flowers all the time. And I would love that in my future. So this is just something like silly, like little things like this, and like taking myself out on dates. Like today, I wanted a burger. So I went out for a burger by myself and actually sat there and just had my burger alone. Went out for a coffee date by myself yesterday. Like I'm just really dating myself right now and just like focusing on myself, which is something that I feel like was such a good thing to happen after my breakup. Another thing is I got back into therapy, and I knew for the last month or so of being out of therapy, when I before I went through the breakup, that I needed to go back to therapy, but I was procrastinating it, and I don't know why. I think I was so afraid of what they would tell me, because I felt like I was being a little inauthentic to myself, and I felt like something was very off, and I was scared. I was so scared for them to tell me things I just didn't want to hear, and I wasn't ready to hear. But after going through that, when I was in a very bad headspace after that, I realized that I had to go back, and I did weekly therapy for 3 months. And this last month I haven't been in therapy, but I am finding a new therapist right now. I just have to find somebody that has 8 a.m. appointments, and that's a little bit more difficult than you would think. I lucked out so much with this girl, Fiona, that I had. But I cannot express to you how much good came out of the therapy sessions. Like, I really was having quite low self-esteem just based off of a whole bunch of other little unfortunate series of events that happened earlier this year and basically over the last like year or so. Even one of the people I work with, he was talking to a new employee, and he was like, you wouldn't even believe the night and day difference in Amanda from when she started here to now. He's like, her confidence has gone up so much. And the other girl asked me like, why? And I said, I had such low self-esteem, and I went to therapy and I worked on it because of the fact that like I was not feeling good about myself at all, and I was just like so scared constantly that I would get fired because I wasn't good enough. I just thought I was not good enough in any aspect of my life, to be honest. And I don't know how it slowly creeped in and how that kind of panned out and how I got as bad as I was. But going into therapy, I really learned my value again, and I lost that. I felt like a little bit of a loser, to be honest. And you know, being in my 30s, not having a career, having a relationship end, and just all these different little series of events that happened that just made me feel like a fucking loser. The therapy was a game changer. Like, I honestly can't even believe the difference of myself, even 2 months ago compared to now, let alone 4 months ago, let alone how I was like 6 months ago, 7 months ago. It is just, I am night and day. It is night and day. I feel so good about myself. Obviously, there's aspects that I still want to work on, hence why I want to go back to therapy right away. But I can't express how good therapy truly is. Therapy also caused me to be more honest with myself about what I truly want out of life. I feel like what I want for a career is not conventional. And I tried to go for this career previously, and everybody kind of got into my head and was like, you know, that's really hard to get to, blah, 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 blah. And I let it get into my head. I shouldn't have, but I did. And I can't go back in time, but I can change my future by focusing on what I actually truly want for myself and being honest with myself about that. Because yeah, maybe I don't make it, but what if I do? But what if I deep dive into the field that I want to be in, and what if it works out? What if it works out better than I ever could have imagined? Like, what if a year from now I'm literally living my fucking dream life just because I took a chance on myself and I wasn't being honest with myself? And being in therapy really pushed me to be honest with myself and be like, okay, say it out loud, say what you want to do, because it's not that fucking scary. And who fucking cares if people think you're not going to make it? There's so many careers out there that are really, really hard to get into, and people do it. There's so many people in the field I want to be in, and there's so much more space for more people in the field I want to be in, and it's totally possible. It's just taking that honest look at yourself and being like, what the fuck do I really want out of life? Really, what do I want? If there was no limitations that other people set on me, no limitations on that I set on myself, no limitations of what money can and cannot do, just no limitations at all. Like, what would you want out of life? And it's possible. Literally anything is fucking possible. And I kind of lost that for a while because of the fact that I wasn't being honest with myself for a long time about what I really wanted because of the pressure I felt previously before I started my own company, the company that I owned for 4 years. And throughout that time of owning that company, I lost sight of the one thing that I really wanted, that I've always wanted, that I've wanted for probably like 10 years. And now I feel like I'm back on track on that. And I don't know when that would have happened if I would have stayed in a relationship and didn't go through what I went through. And I feel so fucking grateful that I got to that point. Because like I said, maybe it doesn't work out, but at least I fucking tried. But maybe it does work out. Maybe it does work out. I don't know. Like, I think it's possible. I feel it in my body that something's going to happen with it, and I'm going to be in that field, and my life is just going to be so different. Another great thing that came out of it was the fact that I actually focused on myself for the first few months after a breakup. So for the first 3 months, I didn't date at all and just really focused on myself. And like I said previously, stopped dating again, and now I'm focusing on myself again. And I haven't really done that in a while because of the fact that I owned a company for 4 years, working a full-time job at the same time, so I never really focused on myself, and I just needed this time to focus on myself. Yes, I am working 50 to 60 hours a week, but I'm putting so much work into me as a person now, which I wasn't doing previously. Another thing that came out of the breakup is I started using social media a lot, and I had been honestly slacking with it, and it's something that I love and enjoy and I feel passionate about, and I just kind of stopped it because of the fact that like the guy I was dating didn't really use social media, and I just kind of felt a little bit weird to post around him and stuff like that. I was still posting, but not as much as I was, and also I just felt like a lot of my free time was focused on him, and so, which that's what I wanted, you know, in the time of dating. Obviously I wanted to spend a lot of time with the boyfriend that I had and the work that I was doing and stuff like that, but since going through that, I took so much time to truly focus on social media. I posted 100 posts the one month, I think like 70 posts the next month, and I'm on track to hit another 100 posts this month. And I feel like I had lost sight on that, and that was something that I was really missing and feeling a lot of, I guess, like guilt and shame about, because I know what I'm trying to do with myself and with my career, and I wasn't really being true to that because I just wasn't posting. And the thing that like pushed me to post a lot was the fact that I wanted to heal myself out loud, because last time that I went through a breakup and just kind of, I guess, like held it all in, I was not okay at the end of it. So this time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna share my experiences, I'm gonna share the things I'm learning, why I'm hurting, like why I'm feeling good, like all the different aspects, and that really changed a lot for me. I tripled my Instagram following so far. I've gained, I think, like 150 on TikTok and about 100 on YouTube, which is fucking fantastic. Like the fact that I was able to grow my Instagram that much in such a short period of time, that just feels amazing. And it just made me really realize that what the possibilities are. Honestly, it makes me so excited for like what the future for me can be. Another great thing that happened is I went home for a visit. I had days booked off so that me and my ex could go on like a 4-day holiday to get together, and I kept that time off and decided to go home and see all my friends, minus Montana. I am really sorry, Montana, if you're listening to this episode. But everybody else I got to see, which was really nice because I missed everybody. I just needed that sense of familiar that I was really missing, and it felt good to go home and see everybody and reconnect, but it felt equally as good to leave. And I think I really needed that to really show myself that I really have outgrown that phase of my life, and that maybe Calgary does feel a lot more like home than I thought. I honestly felt really fucking anxious to be home, and I was so glad to leave. I'm not gonna lie. It was great to see my friends, but after 2 days, I was like, I wanna fucking leave. I wanna get out of here, and ended up leaving a day early. Another thing is me and my best friend, we do a yearly girls trip. Sometimes one of my other best friends comes, and sometimes one of her other best friends comes. We have done it for 3 years in a row, and we were gonna skip this year because of the fact that I moved. My financial situation was really shit at the beginning of the year, and the fact that I was like, I just want to focus on paying off debt and all this kind of stuff, which is great, absolutely great. But I decided I needed a trip. I was like, this is not it. Like, I'm working so much. I need this. Yes, I'm working towards my goals of being debt free, but also I need a trip. I need to go somewhere. I need the ocean. I need the humid air. I need palm trees. I need sand. I need just all of that for a week to disconnect from my current life. I just needed it so bad. So we booked a trip to Hawaii, and we're going back to Oahu in November, and I am so excited. We did go for 4 years ago, and it was such a good trip, and we are going to do a bunch of the hikes that we that we did previously. We're going to go to a whole bunch of food places. My best friend is a huge foodie, which has made me become more of a foodie. And so we're just gonna check out so many good places, so many coffees, poke bowls, so many beaches. I am so freaking excited. And I don't think I would have gone on a trip if I would have stayed in a relationship, only because of the fact that previously I was gonna actually still be going to school. And yeah, it was one of those things where a trip wasn't in the cards if I was going to school, but also the schooling wasn't authentic to me after I realized that really quickly, but I was so scared to tell my ex that I didn't want to go to school anymore. That is a whole nother thing. This is gonna be a weird one to say. That was one of the best things that happened after a breakup, but I allowed myself to be lost and to really get lost. And I'm not gonna lie to you, right now, I've never felt so lost in so many aspects, but I needed that to create myself into being the person I've always wanted to be. I needed to get lost. I needed to feel so fucking lost and confused, and just needed to really strip away all those layers of myself of all these years to really think about, like, okay, like, who am I really? What do I really want? Again, it's that thing about like figuring out my true values and figuring out and just being really honest with myself. And I needed that so badly. So the lostness that I felt post breakup was something that I can't even describe how badly I needed it. And I am so grateful to have felt so fucking lost and confused. It was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, and it's just so weird to say that, because even now I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing with myself in my life? And like, I'm constantly being like, I don't know if this is the life I'm supposed to be living, and I don't know why that thought keeps crossing my brain, and I don't know which part of my life it's meaning towards, like which part of myself doesn't feel authentic to my own self. You know what I mean? So it's something I needed. I needed it so badly, and I feel like I am in this like weird turning point in my life where everything in my life is about to change, because it has changed so much since I moved to Calgary, which I'm going to do a full episode on everything that changed and everything that happened and everything I've learned in 1 year of being in Calgary. But I needed this so badly. Like, I needed to be lost so badly, because I can't even fathom what is about to happen in my life. I cannot wrap my brain about it. But I can tell that my life is about to get so much better than I could have ever imagined. So I'm so beyond grateful for that feeling of loss. I think one of the biggest changes, and the last change that I'll talk about, is I just chopped off my hair. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see I have a cute little bob. If you are just listening to this on Spotify, you will hear me talking about my cute little bob. But I cut off 14 inches off my hair. So I have heard the thing that hair holds memory, and I keep thinking about this. I think about this a lot. And I think about honestly, all the men I've dated over the last 4 years since the last time I chopped off my hair. The last time I chopped off my hair was after I went through a really big breakup of a guy I dated for 1.5 years. And a few months after we dated, I just felt like I needed a big change. So I had long hair that was probably like just above my nipples kind of thing, and I chopped it up. It's way shorter than this. I actually chopped off all the blonde that was in my hair and left it all just the root color, which was still quite blonde. It was like honestly really dead and fried and just really needed a change, so I chopped that all off. But then literally last night I was like sitting there thinking about like all the men I dated since I cut my hair off and chopped my hair off, and think about all the memories attached to it, and I'm like, I just want to let that go. I just want this like nice, fresh, clean slate so that next time I date and have a new partner, none of those old partners ever cross my fucking mind, because my new partner is going to be so great that it won't even bother me that I ever had my heart broken at all. That is my theory. So chopped it off. She's short, she's cute. It's this like cute little, honestly, it makes me feel so much more feminine, which is super weird because usually long hair is very feminine, but something about this just makes me feel so sexy, fierce. I love it. It's cute. Anyways, I promise myself and I promise you that from now on, every Monday, I will be posting a new episode so that I can stay on track, because I just love the idea of podcasting and sharing my life and sharing everything that goes along with changing my entire life in my 30s. I just feel like I'm going through such a huge transitional phase in my life right now that talking about my changes right now, it just feels very on brand, because of the fact that, like I said earlier, I can't even fathom about what is going to change in my life over the next year. Like, I can't even fathom where I'll be next year. Like, it just blows my mind, and I am excited to share this, because what if I go from this having 11 subscribers, which I'm pretty sure all of them are just my friends, and also having no clue what I'm doing and kind of no direction of where I'm going with a lot of things in my life. And what if in a year I have all this direction and everything's changed, and I have a year of documenting everything that's happened and everything that's about to happen? How cool would that be? Even if nobody listens, but what if everybody listens? There's just like all these different thoughts that are going through my brain. And anyways, I'm gonna end the episode here. I am like jacked up and I'm ready to go for a run. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys liked the first edited video of YouTube as well. I have a couple more that I need to edit and post, but I can't figure out how to get the video into a video editor on my computer, because I'm not as techie as you think I would be at my age. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video, or I hope you guys like this podcast, whichever one you guys are listening to. And thank you guys for joining me for another 30 Something Girlie Pod. And I will see you guys next Monday with an episode talking about all the different jobs and careers I've done throughout my 33 years of living, and talking about what I want out of a career going forward. We're gonna speak everything into existence. Okay, have a good week. Bye!